Hello and welcome to Seagulls Social, Season 3, the World Cup special, ladies and gentlemen.
World Cup.
Yes, boys,
Trying
it's been
not to
a while.
cringe challenge.
Yeah, it's been a while, boys. First of all, Ryan, how have you been?
Yeah, mate, I'm very good. It's been a weird 3 weeks, you know, Maz. It's been really strange because, like, I know we've had the World Cup and everything, and it's sort of flown by, to be honest. But the fact we haven't been filming, I was actually thinking it the other day. I was like, it just does feel really weird. I don't know what to do. I'm sat around all day right here because I don't do anything else. And no, I'm joking. But it is really strange. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no, mate, you're in the World Cup. So how was that?
Yeah, Maz played in the first game.
Yeah, played for Iran. Came on. Got a couple of minutes, but no. In all seriousness, it was really good fun. I was only out there for like 4 days in the end.
Yeah.
So I caught the end of the group stages and the beginning of the knockout stages.
Nice.
So I was very lucky to go to Cameroon, Brazil, and then the day after I went to USA, Holland, and Argentina, Australia. So it was a wild, mad experience.
Messi masterclass.
Encara Messi.
Or should I say Alexis masterclass?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Ryan. I got to witness the real GOAT, Alexis McAllister, in the flesh. He obviously started the game against Australia, which was always nice to see as well. But yeah, just the whole experience was crazy. I was so grateful and lucky that I got to go out there and I got to watch Messi on his 1,000th game and where he scored.
That's quite something.
Yeah, it was quite special, and I managed to capture it as well, the goal, which was pretty mad. But yeah, man, just blessed, and it was a sick 4 days. One I'll never forget. So shout out to everyone who got me out there. And Ben, how are we?
Good, man. Work's been busy because of just all the World Cup games, but in terms of Seagulls Social, it's been a dream. It's been like I'm on holiday.
Well, you're back off now, mate.
Nice
you're back on.
Yeah.
No,
you're back on the clock, mate.
Labourer's back. Let's go.
Yeah, it'll be good to talk. It'll be good to talk about the Albion players and stuff like that. Yeah. Even though it has been short and sweet for most of them, but one of them looks likely that they could win the World Cup.
Yeah,
Alexis McAllister. So there's still hope.
So just to give a summary to anyone who's a Brighton fan that doesn't know who's gone out there, we'll give you a quick recap.
You're not a Brighton fan?
Yeah, you're not a real Brighton fan. We had 8 players, which was more than Liverpool, just to recap, which is quite amazing when you think about it.
6th most in the Prem, wasn't it?
Yeah, 6th most in the Prem, I think. Or maybe higher, actually. I don't know. But yeah, we had 8 players. 8 players in total. We had 3 from Ecuador, Estepinian, Caicedo and Sarmiento. Matoma for Japan, McAllister obviously for Argentina, Bobby Sanchez for Spain, Trossard for Belgium, and Lamptey for Ghana. And unfortunately, 7 out the 8 players are out, and McAllister's the only one flying the flag for Brighton. But let's start off then, boys. We'll go through each team and just give a quick sort of like analysis / opinion on what we think, how they performed and all that jazz. So we'll start with Ecuador. And Ryan, Estepinian, Caicedo and Sarmiento, what do you think of their World Cup performances?
I tell you what, I was really impressed with Estepinian. He was really significant, particularly, early group stage. The first 2 games, I think he was pretty much man of the match. He was very, very impressive. And Caicedo, I think, got the first ever goal, I believe, or something like that, in Brighton history.
For a
Courtesy of Maz's actual stats, I believe. But actually mad. I did not realise that until you said it in the WhatsApp chat earlier, which is crazy. But no, I thought Estepinian was fantastic to watch. I mean, it's a shame Sarmiento really didn't get too much of a flurry, but I guess to be expected. He's not really a regular starter for us either. But no, I thought they were good to watch. It was a shame actually that they didn't progress further because I thought they were probably good enough to. It was just a bit of a shame how it all turned out for them, but. No, it was just good to watch, and the amount of Brighton coverage that we got, by the way, was mad. Especially during the group stages, was crazy.
Do you remember the Qatar vs Ecuador opener? They done that whole thing, the whole interview with all the 3 Brighton players. That was so cool. I was just sat there how this is mad having Brighton players at the World Cup. It's so sick. Yeah, but just to echo what you said, Ryan. I pretty much nailed on what I was going to say, but Jeremy Sarmiento, when he did come on, he showed impact, and the commentators were quite excited about him, and so were the fans, which is nice to see. And it's obviously something that we all know, that he's such an exciting player when he does get the ball. He's so direct. But I guess it's a shame that they did fall. I can't remember. Who did they get knocked out by? Senegal, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a shame. Imagine if we had we would have got Senegal, I guess.
Yeah.
Potentially.
That would have been to be fair, it saved me from feeling bad about beating them because, realistically, England would have won that and it would have just been a bit I don't know. Seeing Caicedo in tears at the end of it was hard to watch. I'm not going to lie.
Bellingham versus Caicedo would have been cool.
That would have been a great match.
That would have been good, actually. But it was weird.
Yeah,
Purvis and Moises. Sorry, they made the BBC's World Cup team of the group stage, didn't they? Along with like 6 other ex and current Brighton players, which is nuts.
Mate, that was mad. We had like Matty Ryan, Aaron Moy, Caicedo, Mitoma, Estupinian. Like it was stacked of ex Brighton.
Yeah.
It was so weird. It's actually crazy if you think about it, how far we've come. Like I know it's so cringy and we say it all the time, but when you look back 4 years ago, could you imagine Brighton players just being so regularly represented and so talked about? It's just mad.
And like, playing well as well. Not just being there, like making up the numbers.
Significant.
They had big impacts, as I'm sure we've mentioned and we'll get onto as well. But yeah, just to wrap up on Ecuador, I suppose. I thought they put a really good account on themselves. Obviously, dispatched Qatar straight off, and then didn't qualify in the end, but really positive. And do you know one thing I really want to come out of this is out of the 3 Brighton players, obviously we know Estepinian pretty much has nailed down his starting position, and then of course Caicedo's like arguably one of our best players. But then Sarmiento, hopefully Sarmiento now, because I know he's had his injury problems, hopefully this is sort of maybe the catalyst as to maybe get him playing regularly and actually being a starter in the team. Minutes in the tank, just hopefully keeps injury free, and we can see the best of Sarmiento and he can really kick on from here. So that's what I'd love to see the most from that. But no, I think all 3 Ecuador players really should be really proud of themselves, how they put it in. And obviously Eder Valencia as well. What a player. Let's sign him, boys. Yeah. Let's get him in. Get him in for Brighton, boys. Please.
Sign all of them.
Yeah, get a striker. That's Ecuador wrapped up then. And then Japan. Let's talk about Mitoma, because I know, Ryan, you're always a massive fan of Mitoma. Well, we all are, but I know you always have high praise for him.
I love it.
Talk to me.
Mate, watching that penalty was so hard. I hated every single second of that, because it does not do him justice as to how good he was for Japan that tournament. He was so impressive to watch, always looking to go forward, always looking to take players on. And like he is for us, he seems to be so good off the bench, and it's actually mad as to his impact. I mean, I saw that the club on a tweet actually that I quoted, and it was like a 5-minute comp just of Brighton highlights of Mitoma and how many things he's done in such a short space of time. To have like a 5-minute comp after like a handful of games is insane. So yes, I love Mitoma. I think he's great. I think he's the equivalent to, he's the modern day anti-Knockout. That's how I see him. He's the new exciting man that loves to just absolutely tear defences apart on his day. But it's a shame to say how it all ended for them, because I thought they were really good, and I thought they're probably the better of the 2 teams. I don't think they probably deserve to lose that penalty shootout.
No, penalties were woeful, weren't they?
Yeah, and arguably Mitoma was involved in arguably the most controversial decision of the World Cup with that.
One of the most controversial in World Cup history.
Yeah. It was so far in. It was a joke.
That's up there with the hand of God. Obviously, the Lampard one where against Germany. It's up there with those sort of controversies.
It was as clear as Lampard's, mate. So far in.
But no. And just to echo what you said, Brian. I thought every time he played and came on, he was class, and obviously got his assist against Spain, which won them the game. And also, it would have been nice to have seen him start games. It's interesting to see why, because obviously for us as well, he started one game, didn't he, and then got injured, and then didn't play against Villa or a couple of games before. Basically,
Chelsea started and played really, really well.
Yeah, COVID, I think.
That's it. Yeah, COVID.
Why he went out.
Yeah. So it'd just be interesting to see as to why it seems that both. Well, for club and country, he's coming off the bench quite a bit. I don't know if that's maybe just a fitness thing or he's still recovering, wherever it might be.
It's a great weapon to have, though, if you've got good options at the wing already, because they do have rapid wingers already, and then bringing him on against tired legs is just insane. Yeah. So
from what I read about Japanese fans, because I managed to get quite a lot of Japanese Twitter, because obviously I was following them so closely, them in Ecuador, and obviously Argentina too, etc. But I seem to get quite indulged in it, and I saw that particularly a lot of Japanese fans were quoting saying it's a shame they've got the manager they've got. So I don't know if they've got a similar to like Southgate situation where they all don't like their manager and they've got X, Y, Z benched, whatever. But
what, you don't like Southgate?
A lot of them didn't like it. What? No, I love him. Great manager. But I thought I thought he was great. It's good to see another Brighton player being so talked about. And literally yesterday, like Jermaine Genius was saying, every time you get the ball, give it to Mitoma, let him do his thing. And just to hear that as a Brighton fan is insane. To have a star player at a World Cup is just mad.
No, 100%. Any other final comments on Mitoma before we move on?
I don't know. Loads of people thought he was really young, didn't they? They were like, "Who's this wonder kid?" But he's 25 years old.
That happens at every World Cup, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like I saw a really good one. It was a play for Iran actually. You know the right back, Rezayan, when he played against Wales, he was unbelievable. And like loads of people on Twitter were like, "Oh, we should sign Rezayan for the Premier League," and then it was like, "Mate, he's 32." and he plays in I think he plays in Qatar. It's just like, maybe he's not the wonder kid.
Who's that Ochoa Mexican keeper? He looks like he's got a great career ahead of him.
Mate, he's the GOAT. He's the World Cup GOAT. Right,
he actually is the World Cup GOAT.
Yeah. Next one, of course, we've got to talk about Alexis McAllister. And obviously, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, I was very lucky to watch him watch him live for Argentina against Australia, and I thought he was fantastic. I think he brings something different because he didn't start the first game of the World Cup. He's actually an unused sub, which is interesting. To then he started. I think I'm not 100% sure he started every game since. And Argentina have been much better since that Saudi Arabia game. So I'm not saying it's all down to McAllister, but I think he's had a big impact. I think he's had a big impact on the team. What do you reckon, Ben?
No, 100%. I think he looks the part. I know he's Argentinian, but he just looks so Argentinian. I don't know how that makes sense.
His name is not, but he looks.
He literally is. He's just a spitting image of Messi, and like the way he celebrates, he just is just so much Messi about him. But he's been a really, really good impact for Argentina, and I think Messi loves him. Do you remember, was it a few months ago when he was getting bullied, being called Ginger, and Messi got his back? Like you can tell that the Messi's kind of looking after him, and maybe Messi thinks that he's the guy to carry the baton for him. And maybe that's why he's put him under his wing. No, for Argentina.
Bloody hell.
For Argentina. Not as in like being the GOAT, I mean. Obviously.
Right, okay.
As a number 10 for Argentina.
Right, okay. I'll let that slide.
Yeah, there you go.
Ryan?
I mean, that's bold, Ben, not going to lie. But no.
What, for Argentina?
He's
I can't think of another 10 what other 10s can come in and...
To be fair, you're probably right. Currently, there isn't really anyone out there. I mean, Dybala everyone thought was going to be great, and then just sort of fumbled it, didn't he? I don't know what happened to Dybala. He sort of fell off Roma, didn't he? 16.
He joined Roma.
Yeah, I know. I just mean in general. He was promised so much, and everyone thought he was going to be, that next big guy. Just never really did it. But
he's just one of them Serie A lads. He's just one of them Serie A lads that stays in Serie A and doesn't ever better their career anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I agree. But McAllister, fantastic. I rave about McAllister all the time. I've done for about 2 years. It's just a joke now, really. I looked through my tweets, actually, because I just wanted to see how much I've actually tweeted about McAllister, and it's actually a joke. If you want pure entertainment, just search up Ryan Adsett, Alexis McAllister on Twitter, and you'll see a lot of tweets. It'll probably keep you entertained. But no, he's just fantastic. Class act. There's too many words to describe how good he is. I think he's really good. He's the next sort of player which we've needed, obviously, with Basuma going. It was that big question mark over what happens next. And I think that for him to be able to go over to Argentina and settle into a team that's arguably top 2 in the world, Brazil, whether you include England in them, France, I think that if he can perform in a team like that, there's no doubt that he's going to be looked at by some big clubs very soon, because he's just an absolute sensation, mate. To just see it's insane, actually insane.
That brings me on quite nicely. Actually, it's like now. Well, I'm going to ask the question for all of these players because obviously they're all going to be in the public eye and on the world stage. How realistically do we fear now then that come the end of the season, or even in January potentially, will we lose a couple of these players because of how well they've done at the World Cup? Obviously, usually how it works, isn't it? Like during the Summer World Cup, they usually all go after. They usually go in that transfer window. So do we fear that, especially McAllister, Caicedo, some of these regular starters, do we fear that they could go? Because I imagine they stay. Imagine how scary our midfield will be. Like McAllister, Caicedo, and...
that's got to be the attraction, doesn't it, Maz? It's like... even Gilmore as well, a young player who I think is great. It's like you've got to almost see it as, you can go. But then again, as we see with the likes of Cucurella, Basuma, etc., it's not always greener. I mean, Ben White has done well for Arsenal, but overall there is an attraction to stay here just on the basis of the team is really good. Do you actually want to leave? And the good thing is McAllister signed a new deal before he went away. And I've just looked up his Instagram because I knew that he gained a lot of followers, but my God, he went there and he had like 200,000 or 300,000, and now he's got nearly 1 million. That's really? Just what a World Cup does. And I mean, that says a lot. I mean, if he goes and has another good game for Argentina or even scores another goal, then you're going to be looking at potentially 2 or 3 million followers there. Because, I know that followers mean nothing and whatever it's about the player, but it does mean something in terms of putting them in the public eye.
And a lot of if more fans are talking about it, and then people are going to pick up on it as well. But it's interesting though, man, because going into the World Cup, we thought it would be Trossard. We thought Belgium would have a good World Cup and it'd be Trossard that'd go straight away, and he has an unbelievable World Cup. Obviously, Belgium flopped, and we're probably going to talk about Trossard anyway. They were awful. Trossard was okay when he came on, though, wasn't he? He wasn't half bad. I remember the commentators saying that he was really good, and they kept bringing up the fact that he's had a really good season for Brighton and that sort of stuff, which is quite funny. But they flopped, and it'll be, I don't know what's going to happen to Trossard. He probably still will go, but it wasn't a good World Cup for him, will he? He'll be disappointed.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because he was on the bench and came off, he made a few appearances prior to the last game, which was when they got knocked out against Croatia, and he started that game. And obviously, I feel like the better team was Lukaku. Let's be real, Lukaku missed 4 or 5 sitters, so you can't really. I think all the rest of the Belgium team probably blamed Lukaku as well on that defeat. So you can't really it was poor. It was very poor. But I feel like Trossard. Obviously, I don't think he shined. He wasn't one of those players where you looked at and thought, "Wow, whoa, what a player." But I suppose that was just because, exactly, because of how poor the Belgian team were on the whole. So, Ryan, any thoughts on Trossard?
Yeah, maybe probably didn't really get the opportunity that perhaps he deserved. I think. He came on, tried a few flicks a few times, didn't he, and tried to bring out some skills maybe for the showboat reels. But I don't know. It's a shame because he's been so good for us, and it's a bit like. I mean, I know Ivan Toney has his own situation with all the gambling stuff, but obviously he has been so fantastic for Brentford this year with 10 goals, I think, in the Prem. Trossard reminds me a bit of that. This time he did actually get called up, but probably wasn't really given the opportunity to really show how good he has been. And for some reason they started Batshuayi, and I don't know. I just thought it was quite strange, really. Roberto Martinez was maybe on thin ice from the beginning because I know that
I don't rate him
really hasn't done a great job.
If he hadn't started players like players like Hazard, Thorgan Hazard, and all them players, I'm even thinking of other players. Then the Belgian fans probably have a go at him for randomly starting Trossard above some of the bigger names.
It just goes to show there's not much bottle there. And to be fair, that's one thing you can say that Southgate has got. As much as I do give him stick, he does stick by his guns, and if he does believe in a player for England, and he does keep that group quite tight knit, you've got to respect that. It is very impressive to be able to go against the entire public eye and media, and
Interesting you say that, because I think Belgium, there were a lot of rumours about how their camp was awful, wasn't it? Apparently, De Bruyne and Courtois, having Barney not even talking to each other. So I can't imagine it was a nice tournament or experience for Trossard. Obviously, really cool to play at a World Cup, but it was a horrendous World Cup for Belgium.
It's funny you say that, Ben, because even though you look at England and stuff, and even Brazil, who clearly have a great thing there, but you look at McAllister, for example, at Argentina, you can tell that there's good vibes there. You can tell that it's not just the Messi show as well. I think that Messi, obviously, I don't know how true this is, whether he gave the man of the match to McAllister, but I saw that was a thing on Twitter that he gave his man of the match award to McAllister because he felt he deserved it. Whether that was true or not, I don't know. But at the end of the day, McAllister was by far man of the match on a couple of games that he's played in. And to be able to see that that's recognised by the big players, I think is probably commendable compared to, as you say, with Belgium. It just seems like they're just a complete team of individuals. And I even put a tweet on about Trossard and said, it's a shame that he's, why is he not playing? He maybe should be thinking he should be starting it. And even Belgians were replying saying he doesn't want to be involved in this. Leave that alone. You can shine for Brighton, which is quite mad, really, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, no, definitely. And also, just quickly, before I forget, going back to Argentina, just quickly, I did want to ask you boys, how far do you think McAllister's Argentina will go? Do you think they'll win it? Do you think they'll get to the semis, get knocked out? What do we think? Or will they even get past the final?
Are they in the ones with... They're on
Brazil. They get Brazil in the semis, don't they?
They get Brazil in the semis, yeah.
That would be so sick. That's going to be so good. I can't really call that, to be honest, because Brazil's attack's unbelievable. Argentina's defence is a lot more improved than it has been in recent years, but... I don't know. That would be a really good game.
I'll be honest,
tough one to call.
Just from watching the Australia game, watching it sort of there and then, it was. I felt that Argentina weren't actually that good. I thought Australia really took them straight down to the wire, and they weren't actually that impressive. I feel like obviously they got Messi, and I feel like that's such a huge factor in why they're getting as far as they're getting. But honestly, without him and even with him, I don't think they're that good. To be honest, I think Brazil beat them comfortably. To be honest, but
do you?
Yeah,
that's quite bold. Yeah. I do agree to an extent. I think that Brazil are probably better, I mean, just on the basis of, I think that they have probably got the best team there in a minute, especially with Neymar back. Like, it just, even if he doesn't contribute to any goals or assists, I think just from a Brazilian standpoint, to know you've got Neymar in and around that squad is enough to lift you up. I mean, you see what he does to them fans there. It's just unbelievable, the connection he's got.
Talking of the fans, just quickly, the Argentinian fans, Jesus Christ. Like, that was honestly the best atmosphere I think I've ever been to. Like,
really?
Honestly, it was insane. So that could be a factor into pushing them further. Like, I think they'll get past Netherlands. I think they'll beat them not comfortably, but I think they'll beat them just with like the fan support, etc. But then, I think when they come up against Brazil, I think they'll struggle, and they'll go out in the semis, I reckon.
Might crumble.
Yeah, but I think I'd love to see McAllister go on to get to the final and even win it. That'd be unbelievable. Just to say we've got a World Cup winner.
At England's expense.
That'd be nuts.
yeah. Come on, get McAllister a World Cup, mate. We don't have any Brighton players in the England team.
If Donkey was in the team, then
yeah. All right, nice one. Right, the final two then. I suppose let's start with Lamptey first. Lamptey for Ghana. Ben, Lamptey for Ghana. What do you think of him?
Yeah, he done it right, didn't he? I think. I can't. My brain. I've literally watched every World Cup game, but it's all a blur at the moment. So I'm literally trying to think how Ghana done. They didn't do too bad, did they? Obviously, crashed out in the group stages.
He had that one game, didn't he, where he gave away like 2 goals, but luckily they won the game because of Kudus was just absolutely clutch.
Yeah,
he's
South Korea.
I think overall, it maybe not as good as maybe he was hoping, but then again, he isn't exactly around a world-class group of players. I mean, they were decent players, don't get me wrong. They were a good team, but maybe compared to likes of McAllister and stuff I mentioned before, in a world-class group of players, it's a bit different ball game.
And if we're clutching at straws, there was there were quite a few new players in that Ghana group, weren't they? So he's obviously just been put in this team. I think he made one appearance for Ghana in the build-up to the World Cup, didn't he?
In the friendly against Switzerland.
Yeah, and obviously trained with them and stuff like that. So it's a new group of players that I'm sure maybe in the next tournament, maybe AFCON or whatever, hopefully we'll see a bit more better from them and Lamptey.
He also got dropped, didn't he, for the Uruguay game? As in, not that he was. I don't think he was ever starting anyway, but he didn't even come on. He was an unused sub against Uruguay, which they lost 2-0. Really? Yeah, so that's interesting to see sort of where they obviously gave him a chance. And I think after the South Korea game, maybe they were like, well, we can't trust him. Maybe that's what the gaffer thought, which is a shame.
There's a lot of history behind that one fixture.
Oh yeah,
maybe they didn't feel like it'd be good to chuck him in. And I mean, that was a fiery game. That was a brilliant game to watch. So yeah, he might have had a pretty awful game if he was chucked in that, and his confidence would have been shot to pieces, I imagine.
No, definitely. And then finally, love big up Tariq Lamptey. Big up everyone at the World Cup, like mad thing.
Yeah.
And then finally, of course, Bobby Sanchez, which his Spanish team literally just got knocked out about 20 minutes ago. An unused sub for all 3 games. Obviously, it was never going to. Let's be honest, he was never really going to get a game because Unai Simon was the number 1, and David Raya and him were battling out for a second spot. So I don't think he was ever realistically going to get a game, which is just what it is. But I mean,
I feel from a little bit though. I just think that in that Simon, whatever you want to call him, Simon, is. I don't think he had his best tournament. I don't think he was great. I think if I was Sanchez, I would be looking at that thinking maybe I could have done a better job there. It's easy to say in hindsight. It's a wonderful thing. And don't get me wrong, the pressure of these tournaments is unbelievable. And maybe it would have been too soon for him to just be chucked in at 24 years old. Yeah. But at the same time, I think he would be looking at that thinking, I can be there definitely next time because, I don't think it was convincing from Simon at all.
Yeah. And they seem impressed with him, don't they? The Spanish team and even like the players, and because they post him on social media quite a fair bit of all his saves and training and stuff like that. So they obviously rate him. And I was quite surprised that Simon was put in ahead of him, and he was given the number 1 shirt. I don't know if that means a lot. I know I'm like kit numbers, but surely that means so.
It's not FIFA, mate.
No, Ben plays too much FIFA.
No, I don't. I'm on Football Manager, mate. I've grown up.
One thing I would definitely say. One thing I would definitely say though, of course, he didn't get any World Cup minutes, and he didn't really, get to play. But being in and around the Spain team for a major tournament is going to do him the world of good.
Massive.
Like he was playing for Rochdale 3 seasons ago or something.
So
the journey he's been on from Rochdale to the World Cup, just being in amongst it, being in Qatar, being with the squad, learning from Luis Enrique, and I think he's going to come away from that learning and learn and develop so much. So I think even though he might not have played, I think he's definitely learned a lot, hopefully, and he can implement that when he comes back to the old Brighton. So yeah, there we go, boys. That is the rundown or the breakdown of Brighton players at the World Cup. Now I've got a few questions before we end this segment. So Ryan, we'll start with you. Who was your player of the tournament? Obviously, Brighton's player. I know it's going to be
the obvious two, isn't it? It's the obvious two, which is either McAllister or Matoma. As much as I did love our Ecuadorian boys and etc., Trossard obviously so loved here, but I think it's got to be McAllister, isn't it? Like, it just does. To be able to play with Messi and be so involved in such a fantastic setup of players and be a part of a generation of players as well, talent there is unbelievable. And to be able to shine and be man of the match in one or two of the games, to be fair, is like, it's unthinkable for a Brighton player to even be doing, let alone we couldn't believe it when we signed McAllister. We were like, oh my god, he might know Messi. To be able to be playing alongside him so consistently is insane. But I will give my full credit to Karim Matoma because I thought he was fantastic, and I think
that's who you were going to
Japan
pick.
Played. No, I can't. I'd love to, but obviously he did get knocked out. But I'd love to be able to give it to him, but unfortunately the penalty just means you have to give it to Alexis.
Oh, such a bright penalty, wasn't it?
Matoma, I think the Matoma, did he get an assist? I can't remember if he got. He got that one assist, maybe even two assists actually. So he was fantastic. Changed the game.
He's instrumental to a lot of their goals, especially I think when he came on against Germany, he was very crucial to that. I remember, if I remember correctly, anyway.
Yeah, and Ben.
Yeah, no, he's great.
For me, probably Matty Ryan. For me, phenomenal tournament for the lad.
Matty Ryan.
he did all right, to be fair.
Come on the pod, Matty.
Until the last game.
Yeah, until Argentina, he actually done all right.
Yeah, he actually did all right. So fair play to him, and Aaron Moy, to be fair. For me, it has to be Alexis, I guess. Matoma would be a close second. Maybe Purvis, then Moises. Because we can't. I think before, I thought Moises and Ecuador were going to do a lot better and maybe get past the groups. And I thought Moises was going to have a really, really good tournament. He still had a good tournament, but he's not a talking point like I thought he was going to be. So probably
a good thing though, Ben, in a weird way. Like, as much as I don't agree with the sentiment that we should hope our players don't progress, because I know a lot of people say that and they're like, no, I want him to be fit, but at the same time, maybe it is slightly good. Just at this time as well, it's December, it's January soon, and to have Moises Caicedo could have potentially been a star of the tournament. You would have bet any money that he'd have got in.
If Tshabalala didn't score that goal for South Africa, then he wouldn't have ended up at Reading. So,
mine's
such random knowledge, but fair.
Mine's actually different to you boys. I'm gonna go with Bobby Sanchez.
I actually nearly fell for that as well.
I was waiting for a justified answer.
Yeah, he warmed that bench so well. All joking aside, it's got to be McAllister for me, and of course Matoma close second. So, and also,
did he mean that goal? Was it a scuffed finish or was it a good finish?
Mate, top class. Like, he meant that. Absolutely meant that. He struck it so well, in my opinion. Completely missed. Keeper missed it. It was, in my opinion, fantastic.
He mishit it on purpose.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Okay, then next question, final question. We'll start with you, Ben.
Alexis.
This is a good one. I've literally thought this on the spot as well. This is a good one. If you could pick one Brighton player that's not gone to this World Cup from the current crop of youngsters that you think will be the shining star of the next World Cup, so in 4 years' time.
Oh, that's a terrific question, isn't it?
That's what I'm all about, mate.
He's done a few to me interviews for Lad Bible now.
Do you prefer Marmite or do you prefer Monster Munch?
What's your body count?
What's your body count? How big's your cock? No, fuck me. Who am I going to pick?
Or Ryan, if you've got an answer, whilst Ben's thinking.
Go on, say it again. But
so basically, for the next World Cup, out of the current Brighton crop, who do you think will be the star player? And you can include someone who's already been this World Cup, but if you can, try and think of someone who's not been to the World Cup this year.
Good question. I think Tarek has a chance if Ghana improve. They've got a good young team. They've got a few good young players. So potentially Tarek, although he did go this time. Who's unlucky? Let's think. It's a shame about Trossard. He is 27 now, so he probably won't be hitting that top form when he gets there again. Moises could.
Ecuador have young players that could improve and they could do a lot better. Especially as it's in like USA and Mexico and Canada, isn't it?
Canada,
it's around their area.
Our team now.
They could have a good tournament.
Who do we even have in that side? Evan Ferguson potentially if it all
Ireland
takes off with Ireland.
Yeah.
You never know. He's a great player.
Shit, man. Maybe Sanchez for Spain. Maybe Sanchez will be number 1 by then.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. Agree
with that one.
What about you?
I do agree with what you're saying.
I know we're rating like. I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because basically I'm trying to predict the future here, and I think we've got some great youngsters.
I reckon Solly March. He's Solly March, so young. Great youngster.
He plays so
it's
well.
Like Lingard, isn't it?
Do you know what? I know. I'm sort of going against my own question here because I'm picking someone who's already played in this year's one. But I think McAllister will get even better in 4 years' time.
Yes,
as in he'll like. I feel like he could potentially be the leading player for Argentina in 4 years' time.
Literally, you laughed at me when I said that earlier.
No, but you were saying you were comparing.
I said Argentina.
Yeah, and he said Argentina there. Another country. But also as well, a random one. Yeah, do you know what? Ryan, I was actually thinking of Evan Ferguson. If Ireland, like, I don't know, become good somehow in 4 years' time.
Somehow.
Yeah, Evan Ferguson could.
If he switches nationalities, he might have a chance.
Yeah, he could do a Grealish or a Rice.
So Grealish is come over here.
Yeah,
even though if you've heard him speak, he is very Irish.
That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. He's going to do a Grealish or a Rice, and he's going to play for England in 4 years' time at the World Cup. Bash. There you go.
Bash.
That's my answer, Ferguson.
I'll be his granddad so they can get a passport for England. Yeah. Let's do that.
So what are we going for then? McAllister, Sanchez, and Ferguson.
I wanted to. Yeah, I was trying to think of someone else. We must have someone else that's
I thought of Enciso, but I don't know if Paraguay they won't qualify.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to be really controversial here. I feel like Enciso isn't going to be as good as we make out, as all people think he's going to be.
Here we are.
I just don't think. No, I'm not saying he's shit. I'm not saying he's shit.
No.
I don't think
you just said he's shit.
No. I just don't think he's going to be the superstar that. I don't think he's going to become the superstar that we might envisage him to be. But I hope I'm wrong. I
don't know. Actually,
I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, no, there's some good names out there. Yeah. What about Jean-Paul Van Heck?
He was on. I was going to say him for.
Can't even get a game for us.
Yeah, that is.
At the moment, but 4 years time.
Yeah, 4 years time.
Yeah. You don't know, do you?
Yeah,
it's hard to project these players.
I think we picked some. Yeah, I think Sanchez and McAllister. I think they're two solid ones for next time.
Shouts.
Yeah, for next time out.
Agree.
We'll see. Right, boys. Well, before we wrap up, we might as well quickly talk about England. Let's do it. We might as well, even though there's no Brighton players involved. England. No, we can't. What is that a Middlesbrough top you got back there?
No, Burma.
Burma.
I can't actually.
I've got the two nationalities here. We've got Burma one and we've got an England one.
Nice.
So obviously England are there, but one day Burma are going to be there. And actually, do you know what? I'm going to throw myself into the mix. Maybe I might represent them.
I think you said that. I think we said that like a year ago, didn't we?
Yeah, so we said it in the Euros, I think. It doesn't even make any sense. But yeah,
Ryan, I reckon you'll be Burma's best player. I reckon.
I actually probably would. I'm not even joking. I was talking to my cousin about it, Theo, shout out Theo, and we were saying that genuinely we'd probably be like their best players if we could bring ourselves to go abroad and actually play for them. Like ranked 170th in the world, by the way.
Yeah. You know. So Ben, kick us off. What do you think? Quickly, let's try and keep it like succinct and nice and exactly the opposite of what I'm doing right now. Let's keep it short and snappy. Just give me a summary of the performance so far and how you think England will get on. Go.
Very solid. The only team not to have lost in the World Cup. Southgate in. I always say that when it's during a tournament. I'm not even winding you up. I'm just so fickle when it comes to England. I love Gareth Southgate when he's the manager. You can see the players love each other. They said it's the best squad they've had. The best morale that they've had at a World Cup. Better than it was 4 years ago, or even at the Euros. Sorry, at the Euros.
Yeah.
I just think, this squad, the harmony. Jude Bellingham, my God, he's an absolute weapon. He's so good. So good. We've got it's the best squad we've ever had, in my opinion. Yeah. I wasn't there in '66, obviously.
Rio said that, didn't
he, better
squad. This is better than the golden. Rio Ferdinand said that this is better than the golden generation.
Really? You can tell because of the harmony. I think if Southgate, funnily enough, if Southgate was managing the golden generation, managed to get that harmony together like he has with this crop of English players,
Ben,
I think we would have done a lot better, personally.
I'm going to still be a pessimist, and it's the only reason why. And I really hope that I'm wrong. For the sake of the whole nation, I hope that I'm wrong. My only worry is the harmony thing. I totally agree. I totally agree with all the sentiments. I agree with the fact that he makes the England players better because they're happy. You can tell, right? There's a good camp there. My question is he a winner, and has he got the mentality to change that from a good vibe to ruthlessness and pushing it over the line? Because you saw against Italy that we fumbled it, And we nearly fumbled it against Denmark.
I've said it before. I think he would be a good coach and good to have in and around the team. But we need a manager that can manage a final like that.
I was just about to say, when you're, let's say you're in the World Cup final and you need a master tactician, he is not that guy. Let's be real. Yeah. He is not a master tactician. You're not that guy, pal. But like you said, Ben, he's a very good man manager. I think that's the key difference. He's not a tactician. Yes. He's a man manager. That is the two key differences for me. And it's great, like you said, if he was an assistant manager, I think it'd be unreal.
He chose the wrong thing.
Because you got manager bit. He chose the wrong setting. Like imagine having someone like, obviously this is never ever going to happen, but let's just say in a dream scenario, you had like a Pep Guardiola who's an unbelievable tactician, and then you had Gareth Southgate as an assistant manager. Mm-hmm. I think that would be the dream combo, because he'd be the man manager, making sure the team's morale is all good, etc.
Graham Potter, and then Southgate as assistant manager.
Yeah,
I don't know who the first bloke is.
Actually, no, Southgate's Graham Potter's finished, so it doesn't really matter.
Snake.
But no, serious point. Yeah. Serious point. I actually genuinely think if we beat France on Saturday, then genuinely I'll change my tune. I'll change my tune completely, and I'll say, do you know what?
That's a huge
Fair
game.
Play. I've been wrong for 5 years, and I am willing to say, do you know what, Southgate, you are the guy, because if you can get past France. Provided Mbappe is there.
Yeah, there's rumours of him being injured. Yeah.
Then
he was just doing an inside warm up, or was it inside session or something?
Yeah,
like
that? It was all mind games, I reckon, from France trying to rustle
the
England lads. But I agree with what everyone's saying. I think if they beat France, I think that's the biggest statement you can make. It's like, we are.
It's either them or Brazil, isn't it? If you can beat either of them two, then it's like beating Liverpool, Man City in the Prem. Like, if you can do it, then fine. I'll give you the credit where it's due.
100%.
But I don't know. We'll see.
And just quickly, let's predict our finals. I'm going to go with France-Brazil final.
Yeah, that's the favourites.
Yeah, France-Brazil.
Favourites say that.
I'm just thinking
Brazil, but we'll see.
Against Senegal, we had a few shaky moments in defence, and you think if we've got better players running at that defence and causing problems, then it's
all the best player in the world.
all that.
Or Ousmane Dembele as well, very good player.
Oh mate, Dembele is a baller. He's so good. I'm a big fan of Dembele. All right, so Brazil, France, France final for me. Ryan, Brazil, England. Do you want to go for?
I'll say Brazil, England to be positive. Reality says probably France, Brazil.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope I'm wrong.
And Benjamin?
Yeah, I said the same. Yeah, the final, France versus Brazil.
Nice. Well, boys, it was an absolute pleasure. I always love having these pods. I thought it was a great pod. Good breakdown of the World Cup with Brighton, and of course, as per usual, anyone who's watching, what else we got here? You got this far? Leave a comment. And what comment is it this week, boys?
He's coming home.
Don't say it. I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to say it. But don't say it. It's coming home.
We got to go with that.
That's great timing. Don't say it. It's coming home.
We got to go with it. Let's go with that. So what we want you to put in the comments. Don't say it.
It's coming home.
Yeah, it's coming home. Yeah, we want that in the comment section below. If
you
made it this far,
with a burning passion, I hate that phrase.
If you made it this far, please comment down below. And of course, keep hitting it, running up every episode on Apple and Spotify, etc. Obviously, like and subscribe, all that jazz. We really appreciate all the support, and we shall be back probably now until the end of the tournament, potentially, if McAllister wins it.
I reckon we can sneak one in.
Yeah, end of the tournament. We'll do it just after the final, like a couple of days after the final.
And then a Christmas finale.
And we'll do a Christmas finale,
Yeah.
Right, peace out as per usual. Much love.
Biblical one, cheers.
It's coming home.